First Contact and Revelation. Dr. Sarah Chen stared through the massive radio telescope's observation window at the Chilean night sky, her third cup of coffee growing cold beside her holographic display. The quantum readings from the Kuiper belt hadn't made sense for weeks, but tonight they had become impossible to ignore. The background radiation patterns showed clear signs of intelligence, not random cosmic noise, but precisely ordered sequences that defied natural explanation. Director Matthews needs to see this, she muttered, fingers flying across the haptic interface. The holographic display erupted with new data streams, each telling the same impossible story. Something vast was moving through the outer solar system, something that bent space-time itself. The Atacama Large Millimeter Array's control room hummed with tension as other scientists began gathering around her station. Dr. James Rodriguez, the quantum mechanics specialist, let out a low whistle as he processed the data. These patterns, they're like nothing we've ever recorded. The energy required to generate these quantum fluctuations would exceed our sun's total output. We're either looking at a fundamental misunderstanding of physics, or we're not alone. Sarah finished. And whatever's out there, it's orders of magnitude more advanced than anything humanity has achieved. The facility's quantum AI, suddenly sparked to life across multiple screens. Alert. Pattern match found in historical data. Similar quantum signatures detected in ancient astronomical records, correlating with unexplained celestial events throughout human history. Sarah felt her breath catch. Show me. The holographic display filled with historical astronomical data, strange gravitational anomalies recorded during the Bronze Age collapse, unexplained radiation patterns coinciding with the fall of major civilizations, and quantum disturbances during humanity's greatest technological leaps. They've been watching us, James whispered. All this time. The facility's security doors hissed open as Director Matthews strode in, her face grave. Dr. Chen, I just received word from other observatories worldwide. They're all picking up the same signatures. Whatever these entities are, they're not hiding anymore. The main display suddenly flickered, quantum interference patterns disrupting the holographic projections. Aria's voice took on an unusual tone. Warning. Detecting massive quantum field disturbances approaching inner solar system. Multiple signatures detected. Sarah's hands trembled as she pulled up the live feed. The quantum fluctuations were forming patterns, complex, geometric shapes that seemed to fold through dimensions human mathematics hadn't even conceived of yet, and they were accelerating toward Earth. Director, she said, her voice steady despite her racing heart. I think they know we've spotted them. Matthews nodded grimly. It was only a matter of time. Humanity's quantum technology has advanced exponentially in the last decade. We've probably triggered some sort of threshold in their monitoring systems. The room fell silent as new data poured in. The quantum signatures were resolving into clearer forms, vast, incomprehensible entities that existed simultaneously across multiple dimensions. Their very presence warped the fabric of space-time. My God, James breathed. They're like living quantum computers, operating on a scale that makes our most advanced technology look like stone tools. Sarah studied the patterns intently, her scientific mind racing ahead of her fear. Look at these energy signatures. They're not just passing through space. They're manipulating fundamental forces as easily as we breathe air. These entities, they're not just advanced aliens. They're something older. Something that might have been here before our universe even formed. Director Matthews pulled up a secure communication channel. I need to alert the World Science Council immediately. Dr. Chen, Dr. Rodriguez, everything you've discovered here is now classified at the highest level. We need to. She was cut off as every screen in the facility suddenly blazed with impossible colors. The quantum readings spiked off the charts as a presence made itself known, not through conventional communication, but through direct manipulation of quantum fields. The message required no translation. It resonated through the very atoms of their beings. We have watched your kind crawl from the mud, fashion tools from stone and metal, split the atom, and now take your first stumbling steps into quantum manipulation. Your rapid advancement has exceeded parameters. The old ones require evaluation. Sarah felt a chill run down her spine as the implications became clear. Humanity wasn't just making first contact. They were being judged by entities that had possibly witnessed the birth of the universe itself. Director Matthews' voice cut through the tension. Send everything we have to Project Prometheus. If these entities are what we think they are, we'll need every advantage we can get. Project Prometheus, James asked, his voice barely a whisper. Matthews' expression was grim. Insurance, something we started developing when we first detected quantum anomalies 3 years ago. We suspected we might not be alone in the universe, and that our first contact might not be peaceful. The quantum signatures were growing stronger, reality itself beginning to warp around the facility. Through the observation window, Sarah watched as the stars seemed to shift position, new constellations forming impossible patterns across the Chilean sky. How long do we have? She asked, not taking her eyes off the dimensional distortions becoming visible to the naked eye. Hours, maybe days, Matthews replied. They're making their way through the solar system methodically, probably scanning every planet and moon. But they're coming. Sarah turned back to her console, determination replacing fear. Then we better make every second count. If they want to evaluate humanity, let's make sure we're ready for their test. As the facility erupted into focused activity, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that humanity was standing on the precipice of its greatest challenge. The elder gods of the cosmos had turned their full attention to Earth, expecting to find primitive beings barely grasping quantum mechanics. They were about to discover just how far humanity had come, and how far they were willing to go to prove their worth among the stars. The night sky continued to twist above them, ancient entities moving inexorably closer to Earth, unaware that humanity had been preparing for this moment longer than anyone suspected. Project Prometheus was about to show these cosmic entities that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in their technology, but in their refusal to accept limitations imposed by beings who thought themselves gods. Project Phoenix Rising. The underground facility beneath the Rocky Mountains made the Chilean observatory look like a child's science project. Dr. Sarah Chen stood before a vast circular chamber that housed humanity's greatest secret, the quantum core of Project Prometheus. The massive device pulsed with dark energy, its nested rings of exotic matter rotating in perfect synchronization through dimensions that shouldn't exist. Admiral Helena Santos approached, her footsteps echoing across the reinforced floor. Impressive, isn't it? 3 years of combined human ingenuity, all leading to this moment. How did we manage to keep this hidden from them? Sarah asked, watching as technicians made final adjustments to the quantum harmonics. The same way humanity has always survived. Adaptation. Helena gestured toward the facility's quantum shielding. We learned from their own techniques. Every time they observed us, we studied how they bent reality. It took us decades to understand what we were seeing, but eventually we cracked their basic principles. The main control room buzzed with activity as scientists and military personnel from every nation worked together. Dr. James Rodriguez had arrived from Chile the previous day and was now examining the project's core calculations. The theoretical framework is beautiful, he said, scrolling through equations that described reality itself. We're not just manipulating quantum fields, we're rewriting the fundamental laws of physics within localized spaces. Helena nodded. That's what makes Project Prometheus different from conventional weapons. The elder gods exist partially outside our universe's rules. To face them, we needed something that could change those rules. Sarah studied the facility's main display, showing the entity's progress through the solar system. They had reached Mars, their presence causing quantum fluctuations that were visible from Earth. The red planet's atmosphere shimmered with impossible colors as they conducted their survey. How much of their technology have we actually replicated? She asked. None of it, a new voice answered. Dr. Victor Petrov, the project's lead physicist, approached with a holographic model of the quantum core. We took a different approach. Instead of copying their manipulation of existing universal laws, we developed ways to locally suspend and rewrite those laws entirely. The hologram showed simulations of Project Prometheus in action, spheres of altered reality where the normal rules of physics cease to apply. Within these spaces, humanity could redefine the very fabric of existence. The elder gods evolved in a universe that operated under certain rules, Victor continued. They learned to bend and manipulate those rules to an incredible degree. But they never imagined a species would dare to change the rules themselves. A klaxon sounded throughout the facility. The entities had finished their survey of Mars and were accelerating toward Earth. They would arrive within hours. Time for final preparations, Helena announced. Dr. Chen, Dr. Rodriguez, I need you both at the quantum core. Your experience with their energy signatures will be crucial for the final calibrations. As they walked toward the core chamber, Sarah noticed smaller projects throughout the facility: quantum communication arrays, reality anchors, and devices that defied conventional description. We've been busy, she remarked. Humanity has always prepared for the worst while hoping for the best, Helena replied. When we first detected their quantum signatures years ago, every nation recognized the potential threat. For the first time in human history, we truly united toward a single goal. The quantum core hummed with increasing power as final adjustments were made. Through the facility sensors, they could track the elder gods' approach. These ancient entities radiated confidence and certainty, the attitude of beings who had watched countless civilizations rise and fall. They think they're gods, James said, monitoring the quantum fluctuations. They've probably dominated this universe for billions of years. Then it's time they learned what happens when you underestimate humanity, Helena responded. We're not just another primitive species for them to evaluate and dismiss. We're the species that looked at the laws of physics and said, we can do better. Sarah worked at her station, fine-tuning the quantum harmonics. The mathematics underlying Project Prometheus were beyond revolutionary. They represented a fundamental shift in humanity's relationship with reality itself. While the elder gods had mastered the existing rules of the universe, humanity had dared to imagine new ones. Final configurations complete, Victor announced. Quantum core is operating at full capacity. Reality anchors are stable. We're as ready as we'll ever be. Through the facility's quantum sensors, they watched as the entities approached Earth. Their vast forms twisted through multiple dimensions, radiating power that dwarfed anything humanity had achieved through conventional means. They're going to try to communicate soon, Sarah said, recognizing patterns in the quantum fluctuations. They'll expect us to be awed by their power, humbled by their presence. Helena smiled grimly. Then we'll give them the surprise of their eternal lives. Humanity doesn't bow to self-proclaimed gods, not even ones that can bend reality. The facility's quantum shielding activated fully, hiding them from the approaching entities. Around the world, other secret installations powered up, each housing components of humanity's response to cosmic judgment. As the elder gods approached Earth, preparing to evaluate what they assumed was another primitive species barely grasping quantum mechanics, humanity waited. Project Prometheus represented more than just a weapon or a defense system. It was proof that humanity refused to accept any limitations, even those imposed by the fundamental laws of reality itself. The next few hours would show these ancient entities that they had made a crucial mistake. They had given humanity time to prepare, and humanity had used that time to achieve something unprecedented: the ability to rewrite the rules of existence itself. Sarah looked at the quantum core one final time before taking her station. Let's show them what humanity can really do. The ultimatum. They arrived at dawn. The sky above Earth rippled like disturbed water as vast forms shifted through dimensions beyond human comprehension. Cities across the globe fell silent as humanity witnessed reality itself bend and fold. The elder gods had come to deliver their judgment. In the Rocky Mountain facility, Dr. Sarah Chen watched through quantum-enhanced sensors as the entities positioned themselves around Earth's orbit. Their true forms defied description. Geometric patterns that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously, radiating power that made nuclear reactions look like matches in a supernova. They're establishing a quantum network around the planet, Dr. James Rodriguez reported, monitoring the energy readings, similar to what they used for long-term observation, but much more intensive. Admiral Helena Santos stood at the facility's central command, her posture rigid as she watched the main display. All installations report ready. Quantum shielding is holding. They haven't detected Project Prometheus or any of our advanced facilities. The air itself seemed to vibrate as the Elder Gods initiated contact. Their communication came not through sound or conventional signals, but through direct manipulation of reality. Every human on Earth experienced their message simultaneously, translated perfectly into their native language. Children of Earth, we are the RCCITCCs of order. We AAVUWATCHED your kind, since you first gazed ATDESTRs with wonder. Your RECNTADVNCMAND into QUANTUBIUM manipulation HAS TRIGGRED this evaluation. Sarah felt the weight of eons in their words, the casual confidence of beings who had witnessed the birth and death of countless civilizations. The message continued. Your species develops rapidly, unpredictably. You grasp it 8 powers beyond your understanding. This presents an unacceptable risk to human IVRSL stability. You will is you be invited to restrict ions on your technological advancement or face remediation. Dr. Victor Petrov looked up from his quantum calculations, his face pale but determined. They're not just making demands. They're rewriting quantum fields around Earth. They're preparing to enforce their restrictions whether we agree or not. Through the facility's sensors, they could see the Elder God's power at work. Fields of altered physics were forming in the upper atmosphere, designed to limit humanity's ability to manipulate quantum forces. The message resumed. Your current level of technology will be preserved. Further advancement in quantum mechanics, dimensional physics, and reality manipulation will be prevented. This is not punishment. It is protection. For you and for the stable order we maintain. Around the world, humanity's response was anything but submissive. Government leaders, scientists, and civilians alike reacted with a mixture of awe and defiance. The Elder Gods seemed to sense this resistance, as their next message carried a note of warning. Resistance is inadvisable. We have guided the development of countless species. Those who refuse these guidance factions you cannot QOMPRDE and forces you seek to steer. Admiral Santos activated the facility's quantum communication network, connecting to similar installations worldwide. All stations, prepare for Phase 1. Let's show them exactly what humanity comprehends. Sarah monitored the quantum core's readings as power built up in facilities across the globe. Project Prometheus had been designed with this moment in mind. Humanity's response to any force that would limit their potential. The Elder Gods continued their message, unaware of what was building beneath Earth's surface. Your species has potential, Accept your place in the cosmic order. Embrace the limitations. No easy. This is the HFY to survival and prosperity. Limitations, Helena scoffed. They still think we're playing by their rules. She turned to her crew. Prepare for contact protocol. Let's introduce ourselves properly. Sarah initiated the quantum harmonic sequence, her fingers dancing across holographic controls, ready to broadcast on their frequency. They won't be able to ignore this. The facility hummed with power as humanity prepared its response. The elder gods hung in orbit, their vast forms distorting space itself, waiting for submission from what they viewed as another young, dangerous species needing to be controlled. James looked up from his console, a slight smile on his face. You know what's interesting? In all their messages, they never once asked what we wanted. They never considered that we might have something to teach them. That's always been humanity's advantage, Helena replied. Our greatest achievements came from asking why not, when everyone else said impossible. The quantum core pulsed with building energy as Sarah aligned the final sequences. Around the world, other facilities did the same, preparing to reveal just how far humanity had come. The elder gods were about to learn that humanity had spent their years of observation doing more than just advancing technology. They had been preparing for this very moment. Through the facility sensors, they watched as the elder gods continued constructing their quantum barriers around Earth, each layer designed to restrict humanity's scientific progress. They were so focused on their task, so certain of their superiority, that they failed to notice the subtle changes beginning to occur in the fabric of reality itself. All stations report ready, Sarah announced. Quantum harmonics aligned. Reality anchors stable. Project Prometheus is hot. Helena nodded, her eyes fixed on the main display, showing the elder gods' positions. Send our response. The quantum core flared to life, its energy reaching out to similar installations across the globe. As the elder gods prepared to enforce their will upon humanity, they were about to discover that their long period of observation had missed something crucial. Humanity's greatest advances had been hidden from their view, developed in secret while they watched for conventional technological progress. Let's show them, Helena said quietly, exactly what happens when you try to put humanity in a box. The facility's systems engaged, and humanity prepared to demonstrate why underestimating their potential was the elder gods' first and last mistake. Humanity's response. The quantum core of Project Prometheus pulsed with blinding energy as humanity delivered its response. Not in words, but in action. Reality itself shuddered as hundreds of facilities around the globe activated simultaneously, each one generating a field that didn't just bend the rules of physics, it rewrote them entirely. The elder gods' first indication that something was wrong came when their quantum barriers began to unravel, not through force or resistance, but because the very laws they were based on no longer applied within the spaces humanity had claimed. Multiple reality anchors engaging, Dr. Sarah Chen reported, watching as the facility's sensors tracked the effects. The elder gods are attempting to compensate, but they can't adapt fast enough to the changing constants. Through the quantum sensors, they watched as confusion rippled through the vast entities. For perhaps the first time in their ancient existence, they encountered something they truly didn't understand, a species that could change the fundamental rules of reality itself. What is he is? Their message resonated through the quantum fields, carrying the note of genuine surprise. This should not be possible. Your level of advancement. Admiral Helena Santos activated the Global Communication Network. When she spoke, her words reached not just the facility crew, but the elder gods themselves. You made a crucial mistake. You watched us advance through conventional physics, waiting for signs we were approaching your level of quantum manipulation. But that's not what we were working toward at all. The elder gods attempted to reassert their control, pouring unimaginable power into their barriers. But within the spaces claimed by Project Prometheus, Their power found no purchase. The laws they had mastered over eons simply didn't exist there anymore. Dr. James Rodriguez monitored the quantum readings with a mix of awe and satisfaction. They're trying to adapt, but they can't. They've spent billions of years mastering the existing rules of reality. They never conceived of a species that would simply write new ones. The facility shook as the elder gods focused their attention on it, finally detecting the source of the anomalies. Their attempt to examine it was met with confusion. The space occupied by Project Prometheus operated under laws of physics that they had never encountered before. Impossible, their message boomed. Reality is absolute. Its laws cannot be changed. Can't they? Helena's voice was calm, but carried steel beneath it. That's the difference between you and us. You looked at the universe and learned to master its rules. We looked at it and asked, why should these rules be the only ones? Sarah engaged the second phase of Project Prometheus, expanding the fields of altered reality. The elder gods recoiled as spaces they had dominated for eons became foreign to them. Their vast powers, based on manipulation of quantum forces, meant nothing in regions where quantum mechanics itself operated differently. You call yourselves the architects of order, Helena continued. You've spent billions of years enforcing the rules you mastered. But humanity, we're the authors of change. We don't just play the game. We rewrite its rules. Through the facility sensors, they watched as the elder gods attempted to retreat from the expanding fields of altered reality. Their confusion was palpable. These beings who had thought themselves gods were confronting something entirely outside their experience. Look at their energy signatures, James said, studying the readings. They're afraid, not of our power, but of what we represent. We're not just challenging their authority. We're challenging their entire understanding of reality. The quantum core hummed as Project Prometheus reached full capacity. Humanity had created spaces where the fundamental constants of the universe, the speed of light, the strength of gravity, the behavior of quantum particles, could be rewritten at will. The elder gods' mastery of existing physics meant nothing in these regions. Wait, the elder gods communicated, their message lacking its previous certainty. This requires discussion. We did not know. No, you didn't know, Helena replied. You watched us for centuries, thinking you understood what we were capable of. You saw us learning about quantum mechanics, about the forces you manipulate so easily. But you never saw what we were really building, because you never imagined a species would dare to do what we did. Sarah's hands flew across the controls as she fine-tuned the reality anchors. They're trying to analyze our technology, but they can't. The physics it operates on doesn't exist in their framework of reality. The elder gods' forms shifted uncertainly in orbit, their confidence shaken for the first time in eons. These beings, who had watched countless civilizations rise and fall, who had guided the development of entire species, found themselves confronting something unprecedented. A young species that had not only rejected their limitations, but had found a way to change the very rules they sought to enforce. We understand power, Helena said to the watching entities. We understand the responsibility that comes with it, but we will never accept arbitrary limitations on our potential. You came here to evaluate us. Well, now we're going to show you exactly what humanity is capable of. The facility hummed with energy as Project Prometheus entered its final phase. Humanity had prepared for this moment, not by building bigger weapons or mastering existing forces, but by doing something the elder gods had never imagined possible, proving that reality itself was not as absolute as they had believed. The cosmos was about to learn that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in their ability to adapt to the rules, but in their audacity to change them entirely. A new dawn. The world held its breath as the elder gods withdrew to what they considered a safe distance, though the concept of safe had changed dramatically in the last few hours. Their vast forms, once so confident in their dominion over reality, now moved with something approaching caution. In the Rocky Mountain facility, Dr. Sarah Chen watched their retreat through the quantum sensors, still maintaining Project Prometheus at full capacity. The space around Earth had become a patchwork of realities, some operating under the universe's original laws, others under humanity's rewritten rules. "They're initiating contact again," Dr. James Rodriguez announced, monitoring the quantum frequencies. But the tone is different. The Elder God's message came not as a command this time, but as something closer to a request. "Your species, HASHCHAEVE'd, what had we thought impossible? In all our existence, we AKVNEVR ENCOUNTERETBINGs, who could ALTER, the human mental nature of reality IT's AALF. Admiral Helena Santos stood at the command center, her posture relaxed but alert. "We're receiving similar reports from all stations worldwide. The quantum barriers they were creating have been completely withdrawn." The Elder Gods continued. "We AAVUGVATCHED Caronitilias species, Risi and FOL. All FOLOWDTA same paths. Learned the same rules, HCCEPTEDTA same limitations. But you shows a different path." Sarah studied the readings from their quantum signatures. Their energy patterns are shifting. They're not just communicating. They're adapting, trying to understand the new rules we've created. "Explain," the Elder Gods requested, their message carrying genuine curiosity. "How did you CONCEIV UF DASP plus as I violate? Why did you note sun and Pili seek to MASTR, the existing laws of PHUASS, as all of the ERs heavy dioning?" Dr. Victor Petrov stepped forward, a slight smile on his face. "Should we tell them about the question that started it all?" Helena nodded. They should know. It might help them understand. She activated the global communication network one final time. It began with a child's question during a physics lecture. When told that the speed of light was the universe's speed limit, she asked, "Why? Who made that rule?" The facility hummed quietly as Helena continued. "That question sparked something in us. We'd always looked at the universe's constants as immutable laws. But what if they were more like suggestions, guidelines that could be rewritten under the right conditions?" The Elder God's response vibrated through reality itself. "But the risks, the chaos that could or is ULTFROM, chi changing AESEFUNDAMENTLTONSTNTs. We understood the risks," Helena replied. "That's why we spent years developing Project Prometheus, in secret, testing and refining our ability to create stable spaces with altered physics. We didn't rush into this blindly. We did it carefully, methodically, always aware of the responsibility it entailed." Sarah watched as the quantum readings stabilized, showing a new pattern emerging in the Elder Gods' behavior. They were no longer attempting to assert control or understand the technology. They were studying the implications. "UAVPRV in your selves far more than we anticipated," the Elder Gods communicated. "Our evaluation is complete, though not in any way we QULDAVPREDICTED." James looked up from his console. They're broadcasting on all quantum frequencies now. Whatever they're about to say, they want everyone to hear it. The Elder God's message resonated through every quantum receiver on Earth. Humanity is demonstrated not just technological advancement, but a fundamentalreigning of the TQSI. UAV Sheshojo Mon US They ate even we, who HAVEXISTED, CNCTAE early UNIVRC, can still be so are prized. Helena smiled. That's all we ever wanted. The chance to prove ourselves, to show that humanity deserves its place among the stars. We see aim to evaluate your species' readiness for greater cause and awareness, the elder gods continued. Instead, UAVGIV in US, a NU AOBWAR, in Eastus, OFWAE, just we go to us. Halo. The limitations we so UGT to impose or BASED on our own understanding of reality. An understanding, UAV Perovian incomplete. The quantum core of Project Prometheus pulsed steadily as Sarah adjusted its output, maintaining the delicate balance between the original laws of physics and humanity's rewritten rules. The elder gods watched this process with what could only be described as fascination. Your species will not be restricted, they declared. Instead, we offer an exchange of KNOWEGG. UAHV showman ULS NEDU possibilities. We TNSHOWUPEHTUD wisdom of eons. Together, perhaps we can discover what other realities await our writing. The tension in the facility finally broke. Scientists and military personnel alike broke into smiles, some even cheering. Humanity hadn't just avoided destruction or limitation. They had earned the respect of beings who had witnessed the birth of stars. I think, Helena said, addressing her crew but speaking to all of humanity, this is the beginning of something extraordinary. We didn't just prove ourselves today. We changed the very definition of what's possible. Sarah looked at the quantum readings one last time, seeing in them not just data, but the promise of an unlimited future. That's always been humanity's greatest strength, hasn't it? Not just pushing boundaries, but redrawing them entirely. Outside the facility, the sun rose on a new era. The elder gods remained in orbit, no longer as judges or potential destroyers, but as witnesses to something unprecedented in their ancient existence, a young species that had dared to question the very foundations of reality, and in doing so, had changed the cosmos forever. Humanity had faced judgment from beings who thought themselves gods, and had responded not with submission or defiance, but with innovation beyond anything the universe had seen before. They had proven that no limitation was absolute, no rule unchangeable, and no potential truly limited. The stars beckoned, and humanity was ready to answer their call, not bound by the old rules of reality, but free to write new ones as they reached for the infinite possibilities that awaited them.